Hi, gorgeous. This is episode number 69 with the amazing Anthony Iannarino, a true sales leader.
Hi, this is Anthony Iannarino, and you're listening to the Heart Sells podcast with Christine Schlonski. Enjoy.
I am so very excited you are here because today we're gonna talk about your reason to sell. Because if you don't have a reason, if there is no reason to sell, if you don't improve the life of the other person, you should not be selling. And once you realize that all your amazing products and services do sell, well, that leaves a conclusion to put yourself out in a bigger way to get your message across and to invite as many people as you can to buy from you and to really enjoy your products and services. Today's speaker, Anthony Iannarino, is an international speaker, author, and amazing sales leader who publishes daily at www.thesalesblog.com to help you to be more, do more, have more, and contribute more. So come on, join our conversation. And I'm so proud and happy to also let you know that Anthony is one of the guest teachers at the Sales Mentality Makeover Masterclass, where all the teachers are giving you spiritual and practical steps how to increase your sales and create true wealth without losing your authenticity. So hop on over to christineschlonski.com, find the tab the masterclass, the Sales Mentality Makeover Masterclass, and just put yourself onto the guest list so you can join the classes. It is a free online event, and I'm so looking forward to provide you even more value with this masterclass and the podcast so you can go out and give your gifts to the world, that you can shine bright and, as Anthony also says, to be more, do more, have more, and contribute more. Thank you so much for being here and enjoy this episode. Hi, gorgeous. I am so super excited to have Anthony back on this show. He's going to be featured in the Sales Mentality Makeover Masterclass very, very soon. And today we're going to dive into one of, well, probably our favorite topics. It's sales. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, but we both believe that by selling, you can change the world and can make it a better place. So can you give us a little bit of a background? Why do you enjoy sales so much?
First, when you said, hi, gorgeous, were you talking to me or are you talking to the audience or both of us?
I was talking to both of you.
That's so nice of you. There's no reason to sell if what you're going to sell doesn't improve the other person's life in some way. And that is the heart and soul of selling, is can you create value for other human beings? Can you give them something that they don't have? And the way that I've always thought about this, Christine, is that, if the client could already get the outcome that they need without us, they'd already be getting that outcome, but they're not getting that outcome. They're struggling and they're missing information and insight, and they're missing the right strategy, and they're missing the right tactics, and they're missing the product that we sell or the service that we sell or the outcomes that we can help them generate. So this is something that we do. And the way that I've written this a whole bunch of times in a number of books is selling isn't something that you're doing to someone. It's something that you're doing for someone and with someone to benefit someone. And when you come at it from that angle and you start to realize my job is to go help and serve people, selling becomes a lot of fun. And, the thing that you and I have talked about before is be more, do more, have more, and contribute more. Well, how do you contribute more? You go and do things for other people that they can't do without you. And I was a terrible salesperson when somebody first told me I had to be a salesperson, because I thought that I had to do things to people. But then when I was succeeding and when I went back to what was working for me, all I was ever trying to do is help people with their big problems. And if you can help people with those problems, it's a much easier and a much more fun and a much more meaningful endeavor.
Yeah, I totally agree. And you have a wonderful blog that's called thesalesblog.com, where you provide amazing content for people to get support with their sales mindset, with strategies, where you just share lots of your knowledge. And I find that amazing because, when people actually sell more in their businesses, when they add more to the bottom line, they get actually to create the life of their dreams, like what they truly desire. And by doing so, by being more fulfilled, then because now they can do what they desire, they can be, like, I would say, even better human beings, and influence those people around them.
When you think about what human life is about, and there's research to support what I'm about to say. Right now, there's a lot of people that think that the right goal is for people to have happiness, but we know that happiness is actually an outcome, and it's not something that you can just say, "Okay, I'm going to be happy." The thing that makes you happy is progress, and so you
Mm.
have to be progressing. You have to be coming closer to your goals. You have to get closer to having what you want. But we know what makes people unhappy, and it's a lack of progress. And it is a lack of having enough to feel confident and not have the fear of always having scarcity. And we know that when you can go and help people find a way to get enough of a view that there is abundance in the world and that there is enough for everyone, and they can find a way to have the things that they want. And so you and I have been talking, this is the second time, but the be more, do more, then have more. So you have to work on you have to do things that create value for other people, then you get to have more. Then the certainty that you have abundance and that you can go out and contribute, that progress for people lets them do things that even give them greater certainty that the future is going to be better than whatever's going on right now in their life. But I think it's an important concept for people when they want what they want and they know. And most people don't know. They haven't done the work to say, what do I really want? What do I want my life to look like? What do I want to have? What do I want to contribute? Once you get clarity on that, you start moving towards it. The happiness then comes because you're making progress towards what it is that you really want.
Mm. Yeah, this is so true, and you can experience that every single day in your life. If things are not working because you feel stuck or things are not moving, I do get upset sometimes or frustrated until I move forward, and create the desired outcome, which then helps me to get back to the confidence. And with that confidence, you can just serve better. So you seem very confident. Is that something that you've been all your life, or was it like a process?
I was fearful when I was very young. And at some point, that broke for me, probably when I was maybe 13 in that neighborhood, and I started working. And then from 13 forward, I've been very confident. Yeah, I'm confident I have greater confidence than I had skill at the beginning. And if you have to err on the side of being overconfident or underconfident, be overconfident. Even when you make mistakes and even when you fail, the learning outcome is what propels you forward anyway. So failing is part of the learning process. It's not an identity, it's just part of the learning process. And you don't make progress unless you fail. And the person who fails more ends up learning more and ends up becoming the master. And when you were talking about that, I was thinking about many years ago, I was practicing a Japanese martial art called Aikido, which I don't practice anymore because it's really, really tough on your knees. And I was starting to have enough pain that I decided not to do it anymore. But I went in, and it's a very subtle martial art with very difficult moves that are very unnatural. And somebody comes to strike you, and you step into them instead of away from them, and you don't try to block it. You actually move into them and use their energy against them. I was on a mat for 6 months, and I only worked out with black belts. I only worked out with the highest ranking people. And I felt like I was making no progress. And I took my first test and I passed my first test. And then I was getting ready for the second test. It was a year I've been on the mat, maybe 5 times a week for 3 hours. I was putting a lot of time into this. And about a year in, the sensei decided to advertise the services to build a new class. And then all the new people came in. And it wasn't until the new people came in that I realized, like, oh my gosh, they're horrible at this. They're hurting me. They're hurting themselves because they don't know how to do this. It was only when I could see that I was on the plateau for a year, and it felt like I was on the plateau and I wasn't making any progress. But then once I had the context of where did I come from, I realized I made massive progress over the course of that year. And a lot of people thought I was a black belt because I felt like the black belts in the same room because I only worked out with them. And I'd made tremendous progress. But you're on the plateau. You have to just keep working all the time, even when it doesn't feel like you're making progress. And even when you fail, and even when you think, I didn't get that outcome and I didn't get what I wanted, you're still making progress. And you just have to have enough patience and enough persistence to stay the course. Keep doing the work. Don't give up. Just live with the struggle. Live on the plateau for as long as you have to. And then you'll have the breakthrough.
Yeah, I love that. When I listened to you, I thought how I used to sell in the corporate world. And, you know, when you start out, I was so super serious because it was high ticket sales. And for me, that was like a lot of money I asked for. So there was always this respect. And my view of business was that business is something serious. So you don't really enjoy it. You're super serious. So I didn't laugh on the phone. I was like, I don't even know, probably super boring and not fun to talk to at all. But then as you mentioned in your story, you know, by practicing and by cold calling again and again and again, then when the new people came in and when I started to manage teams and train them, you know, they were looking at me like, you know, I was some Wonder Woman saying something totally amazing. And I didn't even realize the progress I made.
Yeah.
Because, you know, when you don't have that feedback, it's really interesting because you can't really measure or see how far you've come. So beautiful story. What advice would...
I'm trying to imagine you being serious and not smiling because, you know, I've spent a couple hours with you and you're never not smiling. And
Yeah, I
you
did
always
allow
have good
myself
energy.
to be more me.
Yeah, I mean, what were you like when you were trying to be serious? That had
I
to be
was like,
difficult for you.
I didn't, you know, I was so serious. I can't, I mean, I can't even go there anymore.
Yeah, I can see that about you.
Yeah, it was such an interesting journey. And, you know, the moment when I did allow myself to, you know, to relax a little bit more and to have more fun and to laugh on the phone. I remember we had one colleague and she was always laughing. And I thought, like, how unprofessional. Well, interestingly, she made more sales. So that got my attention. And yeah, it took me a while when I started. I made a decision. I was like, I'm going to laugh on the phone. Like with each client, I will have at least one laugh. So at the beginning, I had to force myself. But then it became natural, like really having fun and enjoying the communication, which now, you know, is my new normal.
You
But
had to liberate yourself from
yes,
the idea that business is this buttoned up, you know, place where you can't actually be a human being and be yourself.
yeah, I totally
And
had to.
that process of liberation, though, is what frees you up to actually do good work. Is that you just have to liberate yourself and be the best version of you,
Yeah,
and not put these artificial ideas and barriers around your personality that prevents people from connecting with you.
I totally agree. Yeah, luckily that's like 13 years ago or even a bit longer.
I just like how
So
I turned this whole podcast around and I'm now talking about you.
yeah, well, I'm trying to get you back on the past, the questions. But I love
I'll do
this
better.
conversation because I think so many people have an idea of what business is for them. And then obviously we project it onto other people. And clients do enjoy having fun with us, right? They want to buy from people who they trust, who they love, who they enjoy. You know, they don't want this button up person. And when I then went into business for myself, you know, I could even like drop the suits and, you know, all the professional, serious stuff that you have to, or that I had to wear in my job. So now I can choose, which is really nice. And I don't need to sit behind the phone, like in a suit where nobody sees me and act like super professional. So that's really cool.
It's very cool.
Yeah, and I would love to give people this, this opportunity to think about that they create their life and their business, that they make the rules of their own sales game, and they can have so much more fun and make it easy. When was it that you found out that, sales is something that you don't make people do, but that you invite people into?
I didn't know that's what I was doing. I mean, I didn't know. I started doing that when I was probably 19 years old. And I was working in my family business, and I was told to call and see if you could help people. And I didn't know I was a salesperson. I didn't know I was selling. I was told to call and see if you can help people. So everything I did was try to get a meeting so I could have a conversation about helping people. And it was only when somebody made me a salesperson that I shifted gears and became serious and started trying to do things instead of just trying to figure out where do they need help and how can I have that conversation with them. And when I went back to that, my success, continued. And I've read every book on sales. I mean, for decades now, I've been reading every book on sales, on marketing, on business. I read a lot. But the truth of the matter is selling is an other oriented endeavor. It's not about you, it's about the other person. And the more you can focus on the other person and help them, the better. And when you do what I do, when people have a difficult challenge, a difficult problem, being funny, having some levity, making it something that's not unbearable, and
Yeah.
and showing that, look, this is a problem, but it's a solvable problem, and other people have solved the problem, and we're going to find a way to do it. It's just a better way to be overall. And I think that some of us just have this personality, and a lot of people are probably where you were 13 years ago, thinking this is a serious thing. Well, it is a serious thing, but it's not that serious of a thing. We're still human beings, and human beings have communicated a certain way. And if you were to look at a scientist by the name of Robin Dunbar, Dunbar would tell you that you're capable of maintaining about 150 relationships in your life. And it's because we're still like a primate. We share 97.8% of the DNA with the chimpanzees. So we're like a little bit different. And a lot of that is our consciousness. But Dunbar's research shows that we think that the reason that laughter is part of the way that we communicate is that as we evolved, it was a way to connect with people. And when you're in a room with 4 or 5 people and you can get 4 or 5 people to laugh, then you are doing this social grooming, this connecting that's necessary for our species to survive and thrive. And laughter is really, really powerful. So if you can be humble, if you can be funny, if you can be engaging, if you can be charming, these are things that evolved to help human beings find a way to cooperate, because we're social animals. I mean, nobody lives by themselves. And can you imagine how hard it would be to be a person by yourself, and you have to figure out how to cut down enough trees to build a house and drag it to whatever place you're going to build that house, and go get water, just something as simple as how do you go get water. All of this stuff that we take for granted is human beings being able to get together, communicate, and help each other solve problems. That's what we do. That's what we do as a species. So how far away is sales from that? I mean, how far away is it from helping other people get things done so that things move forward? That's what we do. And you're a human, so laugh, smile like Christine. You can't see Christine, but she's always smiling. She's always smiling. Her eyes smile. She's smiling. You can have fun and play with this. And I will tell you, and I think your experience is the same as mine, the more you do that, the better you perform, and the more people that you help, and the better the results for you and for them. No downside here.
Yeah. Well, people buy into your energy. So if you see that you are happy, that you are a happy person, that you created a life that you really love, they want some. They, if they don't have it, they want that. They feel attracted to it. So I think especially for the service-based or products as well, if we have the solution, if we really can support that person, then it makes all the difference, that they also see how we enjoy ourselves, how we enjoy business. And just have, I always say, going from a sales conversation to a fun conversation, because a sale is just, it's kind of the add-on, right? You have a communication where you get to know the person first, where you see, can you support them, yes or no? And I even go to the point, especially for one-on-one coaching, where I talk about soulmate clients, right?
Hmm.
If I would not want the person for dinner in my home, I don't think I would want to work with them one-on-one, where I spend like so much time with them. And I think that makes a big, big difference.
Fit matters a lot. Yeah, that's a good fit. You made me think of something. I'm going to write it for my newsletter tomorrow. I'm not even going to tell you what it was, but it's so good. You said something, it sparked something in me. You'll see it tomorrow in the newsletter.
Wow, I will check your newsletter. Awesome. So talking about all the, happiness and confidence and selling with ease, is there something that you are afraid of?
Not anymore. I'm through all my fears. I have the two Zen masters that I've studied with in the last couple of years, and one of them, his name is Doshan Roshi, and he's in Denver, Colorado. He comes over to your part of the world quite a bit, though. Goes to Denmark and other places where he has big groups of people come in and work with him. But I work with him one-on-one. And at one point he said, what are you afraid of?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, dying. And he's like, you don't really mess around at all, do you? Like, you get right to the point. And I'm like, well, other than that, everything else is, I mean, you can recover from, right? You can recover from everything except that's very permanent. And so I've spent some time thinking about that. And I spent some time in meditation because I'm a meditator. And I'm now through that fear. I'm not looking forward to not being here anymore. But I've done the math, and so far, 108 billion people have lived on this planet, and 100.15 billion have died. So I feel like I have at least a 95% chance of dying at some point. And I'm going to work the odds in my favor if I can. But the truth of the matter is, it's part of this thing. When you're born, I mean, being born is a death sentence. You know that's what comes at the end. It's come at the end for so far over 100 billion people, we think. I mean, that's our best estimate. So I'm no longer afraid because everything. I mean, you can recover wherever you are right now. If you're not where you want to be, if you had an event, I mean, if you had circumstances, there are people who have had that same event or who have had that same circumstance in their life who are in a different place. And so everything here, you can come back from almost anything, regardless of what it is. And you can find a way to create value for other people and to make progress and to be happy and to serve others. So I'm not really afraid.
Yeah, that sounds good. So if somebody would be
Yeah.
afraid of selling, afraid of having the conversation where they might get a no at the end, what is the best advice you could give them?
I'm not going to answer you.
You're not
Now
gonna.
she's smiling at me. No, I was just trying to tell you no. And just to make sure that everybody knows you survived that no, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah, and you're still a whole human being, right? Feel pretty good?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, good. That's true for everybody. Here's what I'll tell you about fear. I wrote a book called The Lost Art of Closing, and it's about gaining commitments. And in chapter 15, which my publisher tried to cut out of the book, the title of the chapter is called Fearing the Wrong Danger. And we
Wow.
fear the wrong danger. So we fear that by asking, we could get a no. But the real fear that you should have is the not asking and not helping some person get some result that they need with it, that they can't get without you. The real fear is something else. The fear that you're being rejected is wholly unfounded. It is not, you are not personally being rejected. No one's rejecting you and saying, Christine, I would do business with anyone before I would do business with you. You're a horrible human being and I never want to hear from you again. Has that ever happened to you?
Well, not in this way, but people have slammed the phone before.
But that's not about you. That's about them.
Yeah, that's true.
Because that has nothing to do with you. That has to do with the fact that they have low blood sugar. They have a kid that's in trouble at school. They have a lot of pressure from their boss right now. Their husband or wife is mad at them and they're having a domestic dispute. It has nothing at all to do with you.
Yeah.
They were grouchy before you showed up. So
Yeah,
you have
that's
to know
true.
that. Yeah, you didn't make them grouchy. They were already grouchy. So you can't be afraid of a no, and you can't be afraid of somebody hanging up on you. And if they hang up on you, you just call them right back. And you say, listen, I caught you at a bad time, and I apologize. And I want you to know that in the future, if you ever need somebody to talk to about whatever's going on, I'm happy to listen, and I'm here to serve you. And you just don't be afraid of anything. Nobody has ever, this, I'm certain of this because I keep asking. I've done what we would call field research. No one has ever made a cold call and then had a person hang up on them and then get in their car and drive over and beat that person up for calling them. That's just never happened. I mean, the worst thing that they do is hang up the phone. There's no harm that can come to you. And all you have to say to yourself when that happens is, they have low blood sugar. I know they have low blood sugar. They need a glass of orange juice or something because they're in a bad state right now and I need to help them. But it has nothing to do with us. Your job is to say, what's the real danger? The real danger in not calling is that you're not serving other people. You're not helping them. You have the ability to create value for them, but you're not. The real danger is not in somebody saying no to an offer. The real danger is not showing them the future that's available to them and helping them get to that future. We fear the wrong danger all the time. The real danger is in not taking action. And I wrote this last week. I don't know where I put it. It might have just gone on Twitter. Whenever I've been faced with the decision to either act or wait, I've always chosen to act. Now, it doesn't mean that it always worked. But even when it didn't work, I was happier taking action than passively waiting and not taking action on my behalf and on my client's behalf. So you should not fear those kinds of things. You should fear what you actually should fear, which is, I'm not doing what I should be doing. I'm not creating the value I can create for other people. I'm not engaged in this in the way that I need to be. That's your real fear.
Yeah, I totally agree. I always finish my blogs with stop just dreaming, act now.
Right.
Because you need to take action. You need to have a vision, but you also need to take action. So awesome. What a wonderful finish of this first episode. Thank you so, so much. I really appreciate your time and sharing your knowledge with us. And people can find you at thesalesblog.com. I highly recommend it, especially now where you just made a note about something you're going to write from this conversation. So
the
people
newsletter,
need to
yes.
check that out. Thank you so, so much and have a wonderful day.
Thank you for being my muse today.
Thank you.
So gorgeous. I hope you had as much fun as I had. You learned definitely a lot of cool things. And one of them is just smile. Because if you put a smile on, you have more of the fun conversation. You have more lightness in the conversations. And most of all, you can enjoy the process so much more. So I hope you had a great time and you have already signed into the Sales Mentality Makeover Masterclass, where all the amazing guest speakers, including Anthony, are teaching spiritual and practical steps, how to increase your sales and create true wealth without losing your authenticity. I hope I see you on the other side at the masterclass, and tune in for the next podcast episode with Anthony. I can promise you one thing, it is going to be amazing. Thank you so much for being here. Have a wonderful day wherever you are in this beautiful world. And I'm saying bye for now with a big smile. Thank you so much.